What's up, Cincinnati? Welcome to the first edition of Set the Record Straight with Soul Train. I'm your host, Stanley Soul Train Jefferson. Yeah, that's me, all right. Well, I was supposed to have a guest come on Tuesday. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it due to other important obligations. So I thought I took this time for my first ever episode to talk about myself, talk about, the mission statement of my show and why I'm doing this, and share about my knowledge and my love for things, in life, positive things. So let's start off with myself. Again, my name is Stanley Soul Train Jefferson. I'm originally from Lexington, Kentucky. I went to Bryan Station High School. I was a basketball maniac back then. I wanted to play ball, always dreamed of being in the NBA like any other boy would. Basketball is like a big state of mind in Kentucky, along with horse racing. So, I tried out for basketball from 6th grade all the way up to my senior year in high school. Unfortunately, I didn't make the team on any of those years. However, a guy by the name of Champ Ligon was nice enough to let me dress up for 2 games and let me play in those 2 games. Unfortunately, I didn't score any points, but I still had a blast. After Bryan Station, when I graduated in 2004, for 5 years, I was at Western Kentucky University. Oh man, I gotta show you this. Check this out. This is the 100th year anniversary that was celebrated back in 2006, my sophomore year. Man, those were some days. I miss those so much. Go Hilltoppers. Yeah, I'm a Hilltopper for life. Majored in broadcast news, graduated in 2009. Those were some times. We'll talk about WKU here later. But I also went to Northern Michigan University where I majored in entertainment and sports promotions. And for those that don't know what that is, it's a combination and concentration of entertainment and sports. It's public relations and sports, in other words. It's, like public relations and you put sports together in that. That's what that is. And throughout, my time of being at both universities, I participated on the student ran TV stations, News Channel 12 at WKU, and Public Eye News when I was at Northern Michigan University, where I went out and shot video of sports, and I sometimes anchored. And I also did a lot of, editing, video editing as well. I learned a lot of experience at both places. Also, too, growing up when I was a kid, I always grew up watching Ricky Lake, Phil Donahue, Dick Vitale, Tom Brokaw. I grew up watching all those guys and gals, telling the news, talking about what's going on in the world today and some controversial topics as well. That's something I will not do on this show particularly at all. We'll get to that about my mission statement here in a bit. But on this, for me, growing up watching those people, it just really inspired me to really go out and just start talking. That's what I love doing. That's what I currently do right now. I work at a TV station here in Cincinnati. I'm a news photographer over at this particular station, and I worked at 5 other stations in 5 different states as a news photographer. And I got to interview a lot of people from coaches to basketball players. I even got a chance to interview Jay Leno when I was in Lexington. How cool is that? And of course, I covered a lot of wrecks, shootings, fires, you name it. I was there, I covered it. It's a fun business to work in, I will tell you that. Now, it's time for me to share you all my super mad knowledge of sports, especially this sport right here. Basketball, you name it. Yes, basketball, baby, is my sport. I love all sports, but basketball will always have a special heart, within me. So, about basketball, I can name you all the men's basketball championships from 1939 up to this day. Excuse me for a minute, I got to take care of that basketball. So I'm going to be Joe Cool about this. I'm going to tell you, a little something about the NCAA tournament. The NCAA tournament for men's college basketball began in 1939, up to this day. And there's been a lot of upsets. There's been a lot of buzzer beaters, craziness. Why do you think they call it March Madness? I mean, come on. March Madness at its finest. So I'm going to start you out with some national championships that really intrigued my mind. Starting in 1939 was Oregon. Followed that, in 1940 was the Indiana Hoosiers. 1941, it was the Wisconsin Badgers. So those two teams, Big Ten was really making its name for itself. And in the 1939 Final Four, Ohio State made an appearance. I mean, the Big Ten back then, it really made its name for itself back then. And then who could forget 1942, Stanford. I believe they were the Indians back then, not the Cardinal, but they were the Indians. 1943 was the Wyoming Cowboys. 1944 was the Utah Running Utes. 45-46, check this out. For all you Oklahoma State fans out there, you did win a national championship, but it was under a different name. You guys were the Oklahoma A&M Aggies. 45-46, great teams there. 1947 was the Holy Cross Crusaders. 48-49 was my beloved Kentucky Wildcats. Yes, I am a huge fan of the Kentucky Wildcats. I'm a huge fan of this college right here, WKU, my alma mater, and my other alma mater, Northern Michigan. And I also like the Michigan Wolverines too. Always had a special part, special soul, heart and soul for that team too, But getting back to business, 1950 was the City College of New York Beavers. 1951 was the Kentucky Wildcats, of course. 1952, Clyde Loveland and the Kansas Jayhawks. 53, Indiana. 54, LaSalle. 55-56, Bill Russell, Casey Jones, and the San Francisco Dons. 58, Kentucky. 59 was Pete Newell and the California Golden Bears when they beat the logo man of the NBA, Jerry West and the West Virginia Mountaineers. They beat them by the score of 71-70. 1960 was Ohio State, Fred Taylor, Bob Knight, the late John Havlicek, Jerry Lucas. That was a great team they had right there. And then they appeared in two more national championship appearances where they lost to in-state rival, the Cincinnati Bearcats and Ed Jucker. Good teams right there. And then 63, Cincinnati, just like Ohio State, they made their third appearance in the national championship game, only to lose 60-58, if I believe that's what the score was, to Loyola of Chicago Ramblers. That team right there, if I'm not mistaken, they snuck off campus to play in the national championship game because at that time, you had the segregation, of black ball players and all that, and they broke barriers. They're one of the very few teams, and several figures, individual figures that really broke the color barrier of college basketball. Which brings me to 1964 and 65. It was UCLA, but it was in 1966 is what really broke the barrier. You have to talk about Don Haskins and the Texas Western Miners. I mean, back then they were Texas Western, but now today they're UTEP, University of Texas El Paso. That team right there, you had Neville Shedd, you had the Willie duos of Willie Cager and Willie Worsley from New York, Neville Shedd also from New York. You had Bobby Joe Hill from Detroit, and then you had Harry Flournoy. He was the rebounder king, from Gary, Indiana. And of course, you have the man in the middle from Houston, Big Daddy David D. Lattin. Man, those are some teams right there. I want to personally, thank that team for making college basketball what it is today. They beat the Kentucky Wildcats 72-65, by the way, in Cole Fieldhouse on the campus of the University of Maryland and College Park, Maryland. Of course, 67-73, we all know who won that. It was John Wooden and those great UCLA teams with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. a.k.a. Lou Alcindor at the time. And also you have to talk about Bill Russell and those great teams. You know, Walt Hazzard was a part of that team, was part of those teams. You have to talk about Gail Goodrich. And of course, 1971, Upset City, baby. We talking upsets because guess what? NC State did the unthinkable. They beat UCLA. They ended their reign. I believe the score was 77-74 in overtime or double overtime, something like that. They went on to win the national championship that year. 1975, you know, UCLA, they beat my beloved Kentucky Wildcats in that championship game, and it was John Wooden's last game, by the way. And also in that Final Four, UCLA, they had a very tough time, you know, against Louisville, and former assistant coach for John Wooden at UCLA, Denny Crum. It was one of his many Final Fours that he took he took Louisville to. We'll get to that in a minute. You know, in the 80s, you know, they were the team of the 80s a little bit. And they beat them by the score of 75-74 in the semifinals. Kentucky beat Syracuse in the other semifinal. And then you got to talk about the last undefeated team up to this date, the Indiana Hoosiers. They beat Michigan at the Spectrum by the score, I believe, 86-68. Yeah, it was 86-68. They beat a good Michigan team with Johnny Orr as coach. On that Indiana team, you got to talk about Scott May. You got to talk about Quinn Buckner, Bobby Wilkerson. You know, a defensive stopper. Bob Knight. You know, they had a lot of great players on that team. And Kent Benson, man, good teams right there. 77 was Al McGuire and Marquette Warriors. That back then they were called the Marquette Warriors. 78 was that great Kentucky team, the team that didn't celebrate. It was a team without celebration. That's what they were known as. Jack Goose Gibbons scored red hot 41 points at the then Checker Dome in St. Louis, Missouri. They beat Duke by the score of 94-88. 79 was the most watched national championship game at the time, and I feel like it still is, in my opinion. You have to talk about Irvin Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, the undefeated Indiana State Sycamores versus Michigan State. Unfortunately, the Sycamores' undefeated season came to a close when Michigan State shut the door on them by the score of 75-64. And if I'm correct, Magic Johnson was named the most outstanding player of that game. And they were coached by the late Judd Heathcote. 1980, Denny Crum and the Louisville Cardinals, they beat UCLA, coached by Larry Brown, I believe, in Indianapolis by the score of 59-54. You know, you had Dr. Duncanstein himself, Darrell Griffith. That was a great Louisville team right there. 81 brought you Indiana University. Once again, they won in Philadelphia against North Carolina. James Worthy, Al Wood by the score of 63-50. Isaiah Thomas, he led that team, that IU team with Bob Knight. They had a great team right there. And then you talk about 1982, oh man, Michael Jordan with the ball. From Black, he shot that shot from the corner at the Louisiana Superdome. They beat Georgetown by the score of 63-62. And, you know, that was the start of a big-time rivalry between MJ and Patrick Ewing, once they got into the NBA. That was the beginning of it back in 82. And also in 82, it was the start of a big-time rivalry between Clyde Drexler and MJ himself, because the University of Houston was also in that Final Four along with Louisville. So, great Final Four teams right there. Upset alert, 1983, Five Slamma Jammers, the University of Houston. They were heavily favored to win that national championship that year. They made it all the way to the NCAA national championship. Unfortunately, that NC State team, unfortunately, the Cardiac Pack, oh man, they had other ideas. And you got the late and great Lorenzo Charles to thank. You got that David character from DeMatha High School from out of Hyattsville, Maryland. He It looked like a jump shot to me, but like it wasn't a pass at all. It was a jump shot, and then Lorenzo Charles came out of nowhere and just dunked it in at the buzzer at the pit at Albuquerque, New Mexico, of all places. The final score of that game was 54-52. 84 was Georgetown. Wow. Man, that was a great team. And finally, Patrick Ewing can say he's a national championship player. He was the most outstanding player of that game. They beat Hakeem Olajuwon 84-75. However, Hakeem Olajuwon got revenge on Patrick Ewing in the 94 NBA Finals when they beat the Knicks 4-3 at the Summit in Houston. One of two championships that the Hakeem the Dream won, with those great Rocket teams. And then you also have to talk about 85. The Final Four took place in my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky. Woo! What an upset. Upset city alert, folks. Because we talking about Villanova. They beat Georgetown. That was a heck of a game right there. For Patrick Ewing, they were like heavily favored to win that year. But it just goes to show it's March Madness for a reason. That's what the NCAA tournament's all about. 86 brought Never Nervous, Purvis Ellison, and the Louisville Cardinals. They beat Duke, Daryl Dawkins, and I believe Jay Billis was on that team too. He was a senior. It was in Dallas Reunion Arena by the score of 72-69. 87 was IU. Keith Smart hit the game-winning shot over Syracuse by the score of 74-73. 88 was Danny Manning and the Miracles. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, the Kansas Jayhawks pulled it out against the Oklahoma Sooners and Stacey King and Wayman Tisdale by the score of 83-79 in Kansas City, Missouri. 89 was an unexpected Michigan Wolverines team with Glenn Rice and Rumil Robinson. They beat Seton Hall by the score of 80-79, and I believe that was in Seattle. 1990, Denver, Colorado. UNLV beat the crap out of Duke by the score of 103-73, and it's still the largest margin for a national champion to win up to this day. Everything else was just like a close-knit game, or maybe 10 points. Who knows? But that was a great team right there. 91, 92, I don't want to talk about what happened in 92 in the Elite Eight when they played Kentucky, but it has to be talked about. Duke has some great teams with Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley. Those are some great guys. Duke won those national championships in 91, 92. 93 still stayed in the Tar Heel state when Chris Webber decided to call a timeout. And, North Carolina pulled it out by the score of 77-71 at the Louisiana Superdome over Michigan. 94 was, whoa, Peg, Suey, whoa, Peg, Suey, Razorbacks. Yeah, I'm talking about the Arkansas Razorbacks. They beat, they beat Duke in that matchup right there. And then 95 was UCLA over Arkansas. 96, UK. 97, the other Wildcats. We're talking about the other Cats. Unfortunately, not the Cincinnati Bearcats, but we're talking about the Arizona Wildcats in Indianapolis. They beat Kentucky by a score of 84-79. 98, once again, Kentucky. It was the Wildcats. The Wildcats that I love and adore. They beat Utah 78-69. 99 was UConn. They beat Duke by a score of 77-74. 2000 was Michigan State. The Flintstones. Flint, F-L-I-N-T, Stones. Not, like Flintstones. Because most of those players, those good teams, Maurice Peterson, Mateen Cleaves, they're from out of Flint, Michigan. They beat Florida by the score of 89-76. 2001 was Duke. They beat Arizona. 2002 was Maryland. They beat Indiana 64-52. 2003 brought Syracuse. They beat a good Kansas team by the score of 81-78, and Hakeem Warwick had a huge role in that game because he blocked what would have been a game-winning three-point shot to tie the game up to go into overtime with seconds remaining in the game. And Syracuse hung on to win that game 81-78. 2004 was UConn, and that was the year both the women's and men's teams from the same school won. And up to this date, I think that's the only school that I know of that done that. It was UConn. 2005, I'm a Tar Heel born, I'm a Tar Heel bred. When I die, I'm a Tar Heel dead. It was North Carolina over Illinois by the score of 75-70. 2006 and 2007 was the Florida Gators. 2008, Kansas Jayhawks. 2009, North Carolina. 2010, Duke. 2011, UConn. 2012, on UFK. We're right for the fight today. Hold that ball and hit that line. Every Wildcat star will shine. We'll fight, fight, fight for the blue and white. As we roll to that goal varsity, we will kick, pass, and run till the battle is won, and we'll bring home the victory. Go Cats! Kentucky, 2013, and this is the first time a school ever had to vacate their national championship. It was Rick Pitino and the Louisville Cardinals. Unfortunately, they got into some trouble with some recruiting and everything, recruiting violations. Obviously, if you're a college basketball fan like me, you know where I'm going at. I'm not going to go that here. But they had to vacate their national championship, and they're the only school in men's college basketball to ever do it. Also, 2014 was UConn. 2015 was Duke. 2016 was Villanova. 2017 was Carolina. 2018, once again, was Villanova. 2019, if I'm correct, it was Virginia. 2020, there was no tournament due to COVID-19. And then 2021 and 2022 was Baylor and Kansas, respectively. And it was just Big 12 cities. So far, Big 12 owns college basketball. And during that time, during the 2010s, there was only 3 teams that won the national championship twice. You got Duke, you got UConn, and Villanova. Remember that. All right, moving on here. I also have miscellaneous knowledge about some other stuff too. Like, did you know there's 22 stars in the Paramount Pictures logo? 22 stars. 22 stars of greatness. They were called the famous players when they first began, way back in the 1900s. And of course, Lady Columbia from Columbia Pictures. We all recognize her. I believe she's like, the symbol of freedom for our country. One of the many freedoms, just like the Statue of Liberty. 20th Century Fox in the spotlights. Leo the Lion from Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, AKA MGM. And did you know that ESPN started in 1979, and the letters stand for Entertainment, Sports and Programming Network. Well, let me take it back. Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. That's what it stands for. And it was awesome, baby, with a capital A. P.T. Pierce, primetime performer. Thank you, Dick Vitale. Thank you. I approve that message. Oh, I'm having fun, aren't you? Well, I got to talk about my mission statement here on Set the Record Straight with Soul Train. Hold on one second here. All right. My mission statement is very simple. Good vibes, good times. In other words, we want to do shows that will impact communities in a positive and happy manner. That means we want to bring in schools. We want to talk about what's going on in our communities, our schools. Talk about sports as well. With who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Nobody. We'll get to that in a minute. And of course, the Sea Reds, aka the Cincinnati Reds, and of course, the Bearcats of the University of Cincinnati. You talk about the X people. Yeah, let's go X from Xavier University. And of course, you got to talk about Northern Kentucky University. I don't know why I said Northern Michigan, but Northern Kentucky University, the Norse. Both of the basketball teams are coached by some good friends of mine, of Darren Horn and Cameron Whitaker, both of whom that was at WKU when I was there. Darren Horn coached at WKU from 2003 to 2008 until he went and took the job at the University of South Carolina, where he swept Kentucky, and I'm not happy about that, but Darren, I still love you. Go Tops. And Cameron Whitaker, she's one of the all-time, she's one of my all-time favorite Lady Topper basketball players. Really, all of them that was there when I was there, and everybody that's still playing, and from past to this day, they all my favorite players. Love my WKU athletics so much. I love y'all so much. In fact, my school, WKU, they went to a Final Four, believe it or not, in 1971. Unfortunately, the NCAA ended up vacating their Final Four appearance because the late Jim McDaniels, if I'm correct, he signed with an agent when he was still enrolled at WKU. So I know the school fight song by heart. I told you I was going to get back to WKU, and here I am. I know it's stand up and cheer for dear old Western. For today we raise the red and white above the rest. Rah, rah, rah. Our team is fighting, and we're bound to win the fray. We got the team, oh yeah, we got this team, oh yeah, for this is dear old Western's day. Well, I got a version of my own. I'm going to do this, my way. Hold on one second. Where's my sunglasses? Well, there they are. We're going to do this the Soul Train style. It's a little something I came up with when I was at college at WKU, and it goes a little something like this. Stand up and cheer, y'all just stand up and cheer. For the mighty Hilltoppers, as they're going to get their here, y'all scream and root. For the #1 recruits, as the coach just gets the troops ready. While Big Red eats a bowl of spaghetti, the Western fans are gonna be ready. We got the team, we got the steam, for this is dear old Western's day. Y'all better stand up and cheer, y'all just stand up and cheer, as we're gonna be the #1 team in the state. U of L don't hate, this team is going to be great, and everybody in Bowling Green is gonna be on the dream team. We got the team, we got the steam, for this is dear old Western's day. And that's all she wrote. And also, too, we want to talk about, what's going on, like organizations. If there's any organizations out there that's doing nonprofit things, helping the homeless, the needy, helping, kids get school supplies for back to school, stuff like that. I want to know about that, too. So if you have any story ideas of any kind that you want to pass along to me, that you want to show on my show, get your name out there and get your nonprofit, your organization out there, or whatnot. Or if you have any ideas of your own, I'm gonna set up my own Facebook page. It's already up and running. It's called Set the Record Straight with Soul Train. Just look it up on Facebook. You'll find it on there. And also, you can contact me through email at this right here. It's strssoultrain@yahoo.com. You can contact me there. And, also too, just contact me on Facebook. I'm going to put this on LinkedIn as well. I'm going to put it on all social media platforms and YouTube as well, so that you all can watch this, because I want to be that positive influence, that impact towards Cincinnati. And I'm not just talking about, I know I said in the promos, I'm a, focus on Cincinnati and the tri-state area. But I also want to focus on my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky, get them involved, Bowling Green, Kentucky, even Louisville, even, heck, Nashville, Tennessee, Tennessee as well, Indiana, West Virginia. I want to get those people involved. Throughout the United States, if you want to be on my show, you can contact me once again at this email right here, or go on my Facebook, go on my Facebook page, Set the Record Straight with Soul Train, and contact me there. You can do a private message if I'm correct. I got to look back on that. But feel free to contact me at any time if you have any ideas. This show is gonna it's gonna be wiped out of the world, and we're also gonna have musical guests. So if you also are a musician and you want to perform your song or play your musical number or whatnot, feel free to send yourself or that organization or that singer or that musician my way, because I want to, see them showcase their talent, because I can sing too. I want to, sing with them or play an instrument with them, have fun. That's what my mission statement is. That's what this is about. Good vibes, good times. Remember that. I'm going to say it again. Say it with me. Good vibes, good times. Remember that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to have to say goodbye. But it's been fun. Oh, one more thing, too. I got another knowledge I want to share. I got to put on my handy-dandy sunglasses. Well, I know a little thing, too, about the NBA. Did you know in the NBA, there's the difference between college basketball and high school? Okay, I'm going to do this. This is college basketball in high school. I'm going to put it on this side. This is the NBA. I'm going to hold it in my hand. In the NBA, did you know that a player has 8 seconds to get across half court, to the other side of the court? Now, in high school and college, you got about 10 seconds. In the NBA, if I'm correct, the shot clock is at 24 seconds. And you got 4 quarters, of course, and you got the best of 7 in the NBA playoffs. And they got the play-in games, for the 9 and 10 seed, the winner of those games gonna go on and play in the NBA playoffs. But I also know about NBA champions, of the past. I already know about all those great teams in the 60s that the Celtics had with Bill Russell, the late John Havlicek, and Bob Cousy. And Bob Cousy steals the ball! Bob Cousy steals the ball! The Celtics have won! Yay! I could tell you, who won the NBA title, in certain years. I'll start it with 1980. You got to start with Irvin Magic Johnson, playing center. He played all positions. He won with raw talent that he had coming out of Michigan State. He's one of the very few players that won a collegiate title and followed that up with an NBA title in 1980 when they beat the Sixers 4-2. The last game was in Philadelphia at the Spectrum. 1981 was Larry Bird and the Celtics. 82, it was the Lakers over the Sixers. 83 was the Fee-Fi-Fo-Fo. Dr. J finally won one with Moses Malone in the game. They beat the Lakers, however, 4-0. And of course, you got to talk about the Celtics. Once again, the Lakers, they were in the NBA Finals, but failed to win it against the Celtics. Once again, it was 4-3, by the way. Went to all 7 games. However, the Lakers, they came back with revengeance. They were mad. If you watch the Lakers versus Celtics, with Ice Cube in the game, Ice Cube, they got the last laugh. The Lakers got the last laugh up to this day. The Lakers beat the Celtics 4-2 in that year, and they won on Boston's court, the Boston Garden, in other words. And I can name you, some other championships too, and all that. But we definitely going to get to that at another time. But I would like to thank each and every one of you all for watching this, and keep watching for more, on my show with Set the Record Straight with Soul Train here. I mean, I'm telling you, this show here is going to be, you know, off the charts. I mean, you'll like it, trust me. You know, me doing it by myself, you know, doing the switches and everything and all that. It's hard. Which reminds me too, if you know somebody that would like to learn how to, do camera work, learn how to do Studio B or Studio A here at Waycross Community Media for my show, you can also contact me at this email once again, or you can call Waycross Community Media. It's located at here on Waycross Road in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can call them at, let me see if I can pull this up here. Let me see if I can pull up their number. Just 1 second. Let me see here. I know I got their number right here. Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. Here we go. The number is 513-825-2429, and ask for Dana or Tony. Remember that. Again, the number for Waycross Community Media is 513-825-2429, and tell them that you're interested in working with me on my show, Set the Record Straight with Soul Train. They'll tell you about the fees and everything you have to pay for and everything. And if you want to learn more about my show, or if you have any questions for me, again, you can contact me on my email right here. Don't forget to tell me your name, your contact information, your phone number, email address, stuff like that I can contact you, by and everything. I do well by, emails. That's the best way to contact me. So if you're interested in learning about TV production, or if you just want to flat out help me out, feel free to reach out to me or to Waycross Community Media. Well, folks, I have to say goodbye. I mean, it's been a pleasure working with you, talking to you all about my show and everything. I mean, this is a show that you're never going to forget. Just remember one thing, y'all. Keep it fresh, Cincinnati. Just keep it fresh. All right, y'all. Holla at your boy. I'll see you next time.